Spontaneous speaking video 23. So this video is going to be on a blog that I actually wrote, I think last year or a year or two back. It's called Special Treatment for Attractive People. And I'm going to provide the link in the description below for anybody who's interested in going to read. It should be like a 5-minute read or something. And I probably said everything I'm about to say in that blog a little bit more eloquently in there because, I actually had some time to write it out, put the illustrations or whatever. But anywho, I'm going to wing it like I do with all of these other spontaneous speaking videos. And I wrote that blog a day before Halloween, I remember. And basically what made me actually write that blog was the fact that I was walking into the music building at Liberty University, the school that I go to. Yay. And as I was walking, I basically was walking into the music building and I saw a girl little distance away. And usually I would hold the door for her. I would say that this girl was not, she was at the perfect distance where she was not too far away, where I couldn't have just held the door for her and it would have been weird. And she wasn't too close where it would have been like rude if I didn't hold the door for her. You know what I mean? So I chose to just not hold the door for her. And although I'm sure that she did not care at all, it wasn't that big of a deal. As I was walking up the stairs, I distinctly remember yelling at myself mentally. And as I talk about in the blog, I'm a person that likes to talk to myself. I don't have conversations with myself. That's totally different. That's something different. But I like to reprimand myself. And for this specific situation, I was reprimanding myself for not holding the door for that girl. Because not only was it because she was too far, but the thing is, I knew that if the girl was, in my opinion, attractive, then I definitely would have went out of my way to hold the door for her, even if it would have been like a 5-second thank you, you're welcome, or not even 5 seconds, like a 2-second thank you, you're welcome type of exchange that would have happened over there, and we would have never spoke again. For some reason, I'm just like that. But even on the contrary, the girl is what I would consider to be a little bit less than attractive. And so I believe subconsciously, Tay's texting me. See, my phone was dry all day. Anyway, subconsciously, I believe that I did not hold the door for that girl because of that reason, that I found her to be a little bit less than attractive. And I started to reprimand myself for that reason, yo, Denzel, that is so messed up. Why would you do that? First of all, she can't help how she looks. Second of all, you know that you would have been really upset if somebody had done the same thing to you. And then you're supposed to call yourself a Christian. You're supposed to call yourself a leader. Are you serious? I was just really upset with myself. And I can honestly say from that day forward, I actually ran into that girl, or her twin. She's a twin, ironically. I ran into her 3 times since then, and I've held the door for her all 3 times, or her twin. So, pat on the back. But that just brought my attention to how we tend to treat people special, just because of how they look, just because of how good they look naturally. And we tend to treat people a little bit less than special just because of how they look or don't look. Another example would be that I provided in the blog was my friend Peach. Her real name's Keandra. Shout out to you, Keandra, in case you're watching. I'm pretty sure you're watching. You watch all of my videos, hopefully. Anyway, she told me that she would often go to this fast food place called Bojangles, and whenever she would go to Bojangles with her guy friends, it would be 2 light-skinned dudes, and apparently there would be a lady over there that worked behind the register, and would give them a free meal. Not Peach the free meal, but she would give the two light skinned dudes a free meal just because, according to Peach, they were cute light skinned guys. But she still had to pay. Now, if that's not messed up, I don't know what is. That infuriated me, and it also like helped me realize how much more what I did, just like, all this just from like holding the door open, like that was upsetting to me, because we were all born the way we look. Like, I was born with this face. Peach was born with the face that she was born with. The light-skinned dudes were born with the face that they were born with. We can't do much to change that, unless if you go through the whole plastic surgery that I just find unnecessary. But I just believe that as humans, even though this may be natural and we fall into this like all the time, we should be more conscious of the fact that we should not really we should be more conscious of treating people specially just because of how they look, just because of whether or not they're attractive in our preference, or whether they are not attractive in our preference. You guys get what I'm saying. And I think that this was very well depicted in Fairly Odd Parents. It's an episode called The Same Game, I believe. And if you guys have watched that show, I actually really don't like that show. I think the humor that they use is kind of corny. It's just really stupid. Like, Timmy, as your father, I'm going to buy something and barge in anyway. Or like, where'd you get that? Internet? Like, I don't know. I just found it like super corny. But it was a guilty pleasure of mine. I ended up watching it, especially because Dante ended up liking it a lot. And one of the episodes is called The Same Game, where it was these two dentists, I believe, and they, Timmy and his friends were playing with the ball. They kicked it into his yard, and they said, "Oh, we're better than you because our teeth look better, blah, blah, blah." So they just thought they were superior because their teeth were superior to everybody else's or whatever. And Timmy had, like, his little 2 buck teeth. So Timmy ended up wishing that that everybody in the world looked exactly the same. And everyone ended up looking like these gray blobs, kind of like Blue from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. And still, these two dentists were like, "Oh, well, we're the most gray," and blah, 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 blah. And the point of the story that I got from that was, as everyone looked exactly the same, like, imagine us being in such a world where everyone looked exactly the same. Now, in order to be attracted to someone, in order to be attracted to your significant other, you have nothing to go off of but her or his character. I think, first of all, I would like to say that I think that God created us all looking different for good reason. I believe that God gave us all preferences, different type of preferences for a reason. Like, you'll like, if I find you to be unattractive, but he finds you to be very attractive, then that all works out. And I think that's just the beauty of our ecosystem, how life works. But we should not take that to the next extreme and just like blow that up. I'm thankful that we do not live in a world that Timmy had created in that episode, where we're all just gray blobs and we have to go solely off of people's personality. But at the same time, sometimes I wish that we did go by that. And I think that I'll just end off with this story. A man came to speak at my school. Now, this man, I don't remember the story completely, but I'll say the parts that I do remember, and the part that the main punchline is what really got me. So this man was in war, and he was fighting in the war, and a grenade went off, and this man's face was like blown up. A lot of other people that were around him died, and then I think like 2 or 3 people survived along with him, and they were shipped off to Japan. They were hospitalized in Japan, and the man said that as they were being hospitalized, the other men that had survived and were being hospitalized, their wives were coming in, they would see their husbands, they're crying, and they take off their ring and place it on the side of their husband, basically indicating like, I'm sorry, but I can't be with you anymore. You look ugly. So this specific man that came to speak at my school, when his wife walked in, he said that she walked in, looked around, found him, looked at his name tag, looked at him, looked back at his name tag, looked back at him, leaned down, kissed him on the forehead, and said something along the lines of, I'm so glad that you're okay, or welcome home, or something along those lines. And basically, this is the main part. Basically, this man that was being hospitalized said to her, I'm so sorry that I'm not handsome anymore. And she responded, it's okay, honey. You never were. And what I found so significant about that is that these two are married. I don't remember how long they were married, but they were married for a long time. And for her to say, I never thought of you to be a handsome person, but yet she married him for that long, and not only did she marry him for that long, but now he's even more unattractive due to his, I'm telling you, his face looked really messed up, no offense to him, but dang, that grenade really messed him up. It was even uncomfortable sometimes for me to like continue to look as he was speaking. He couldn't like move his face and everything. It was really sad. It was very sad. I'm not saying it like a making fun of him type of way. It was like that sad. So I can only imagine her now having to face this, especially not seeing him as handsome before. But she loved his character, who he was inside, so much that she decided to stay with him, even after this whole incident. And I think that if we lived in the same game world with the blobs and everything, how many of us would actually be able to stick with our partners because of solely their character? How many of us have actually worked on our own characters enough so that no matter how ugly we may look, what's inside is so incredibly attractive that if somebody were to get to know us and look past our surface, would they actually stay? I think in the same way that we would not want people to solely judge us off of how we look, we should also not judge people solely off of how they look. Now, style is something else, you know, unless if you don't have money to buy style. But like if you're dressing all raggedy and everything, or your hygiene is not good, that's a different story. But going solely off of like how a person's teeth is, how dark or light they are, how their hair is, just all of these physical features, we shouldn't go off of that. We shouldn't treat people specially just because of that, and we should not treat people unspecially because of that. And that's what I believe. So, moral of the story, moral of this video is that we are all gift wrap. And for Christmas, I could easily buy something very, very cheap, put it in a really nice box, wrap it in some golden gift wrap and everything, make it look really nice, and I hand it to you, and you open it all excitedly, and you find out that it's just this really cheap, I don't know, whatever this is Tay has over here, chiropractic health thing, I don't know. Or I could buy something super expensive, like maybe a iPhone 6S, I don't know, and put it in a really raggedy box. Don't even bother to wrap it up, and I'll give it to you. And you open it and you're like, whoa, which one would you rather have? Which one would you rather be? Done.